Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Stuck. What kind of product do you have in there? Sorry, white girls. Oh, God.
Welcome everyone back to Curiosities. I'm your host, JV Torres, and I've been on this run lately where I'm interviewing people, and luckily I've been interviewing some very interesting people. We've had some really colorful conversations, and I'm continuing that today. With me, I have a guest that I'm going to bring on here in a second, who is a filmmaker, actress, writer, performer, fantastic dancer too. I've seen her dance. She's just a very all-around incredible person that I'm looking forward to interviewing, and I'm sure you guys will be delighted to hear what she has to say about her story. She's a filmmaker and a lot of things. She's kind of a Renaissance lady, and I'm hoping that she can explore that with us. Tell us all about that. Please give a warm Curiosities welcome to Malene Rhein. Malene, welcome to
Hi.
Curiosities.
Renaissance woman live in the flesh. Here we are.
Renaissance woman. A true, something I kind of consider myself that myself. I don't know if a person can consider themselves that. I like to think that I want to be doing a million different things. And I think that's one of the things that attracted me to your work was the fact that you're able to do so many things simultaneously. It's quite talented that you are.
Thank you.
I didn't do this in my monologue, and I'm gonna do it while you're on here, and then we'll get going with the whole conversation here. I'm hoping we can get some good stuff. But one of the words that I was thinking about this for a while, since because you and I've been going back and forth for weeks. But the one word that kept coming up in my mind to describe you is bold. Tell me, is that an accurate word to use in your own opinion about what you do?
That's interesting. Yes, it's funny though, because I think about all the fear that I have, like while being bold, the fact that you can be bold while still having all this like fear and anxiety sometimes. But yeah.
I chose bold because, you have this flair for dark comedy satire, which is something I absolutely love myself. I try to emulate that. And that's why I love Shakespeare, because he was a master at it. And there's plenty of filmmakers out there that do it. Quentin Tarantino comes to mind. Is Quentin Tarantino one of the film directors you follow
No,
or
I
care
really
about?
don't like him.
You don't like him?
No, I
Why?
feel like I'm one of the few people. I find his stuff like he reminds me of like like film school colleagues who just would make like really dark, violent shit, but it's I don't know, like I don't find it inspiring, or I feel like it's dark and gratuitous without any redeeming qualities personally. I
Yeah,
know I kind of stand alone in that, but I just except for Kill Bill 2, I really loved, but
Bill Bill was amazing.
yeah.
Well, that's interesting. You would use that to describe him, and some people might say that Tupac Shakur was kind of a violent in his lyrics, and you did one of his videos. Didn't you direct one of his music videos?
I did, and I got to see another side of him. Like he really wanted to, because of the backlash he was getting, he really wanted to do a video that was like kind to women, or that showed him portraying women in a different light. I feel like deep down he was really an artist. Like he's a
Yeah.
talented artist who really, but kind of got caught up in this sort of thug gang, vibe or whatever, and was trying to prove something in that respect. But I kinda saw that different side of him. I don't know, people get caught up in stuff and they're trying to fit in, or they're trying to sell. I don't know what his motivation was, but I feel like at the core, he was like an artist who was happier creating cool stuff. I remember even, like remember that Digital Underground song, The Humpty Dance?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who could
I
forget
love
that
that
one? I'm really dating myself
My
here.
favorite line ever is, "I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom." Like, that's the ever,
Right?
ever. I fucking love that song. Anyway, there was that aspect of him that was, like, very silly, like, just a,
Yeah.
silly dude who then got caught up in this, like, West Coast, trying to be thug gangbanging at age 25, whatever. Like, that was kind of I don't know what that was about, but I got to see this other side of him, and, people are multidimensional. And so, yeah, he, had this violent side, but which was true to him too. But there were other aspects, you know what I mean?
There's I'm in Baltimore, and there's a Baltimore connection with Tupac. apparently he lived here for a minute or two. Who knows? So
Yeah.
there's always people that make reference to Tupac when he had lived here in Baltimore for a minute. I don't know. There's a
Yeah,
couple
I'd
of people.
heard that. I'd heard that.
So anyway, let's move on. So um so let me ask you, are you more comfortable doing comedy or more serious drama productions?
It's a good question. I think I definitely thrive in comedy. I love taking, like, all the dark shit in life, all the painful stuff, or even, like, the fear and anxiety I often go through and making light of it and making humor. I'm very comfortable in that. I do one of my movie scripts, which is kind of like a hip hop dance drama, very much like Rocky or 8 Mile, is for sure a drama. And it's good and I love it, but I don't when I'm writing comedy, I feel high. I feel like that's my element. Like, to make people laugh and do it in a unique way, using your own the stuff that you try to hide, like your shadow self, if you will, or the dark parts that you don't want people to see, but when you let that see the light of day through humor, it's like therapy. It's like, I don't know, I thrive off of it, you know?
If you don't mind, I'd like to just kind of explore something personal with you. Because I was reading on I think I read some of your stuff on one of these websites that you have a blog on. I think you wrote a few pieces, and one of them you were writing about how you were staying with your sister, right?
Yes. Yes.
Are you still in that situation?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Now I'm going somewhere with it. It's not that I want to harp on that,
okay.
but I think that there are, and I know people personally in my life who, and they're in such pursuit of their art because that's really all. It's what defines them, I suppose. It's like they can't do a 9 to 5 job. They just can't, or they'll do a job to survive. But what they're driven to do more than anything is their art, whether it's music or some other creative outlet that they're trying so to live that life, and it doesn't matter where it leads them. They're just going to do it day by day. Is that how you're doing this? Is that what's going on here?
This is, like, really the best conversation ever because and it's very personal, it's very real. I feel like in my heart, like, since I was 4, I kinda knew what I wanted to do, and I have this mission, to, like, entertain, but, like, uplift and inspire and tell, like, sort of deep stories that are very personal, and I cannot do anything else. There was a time when I was directing music videos, I was making really good money, I was buying really nice clothes, and, even a few years ago, I was living in a nice apartment by the beach, and I so badly just wanna make these movies that I moved in with my sister to cut my overhead,
Mhm.
and it's not it's not easy, it's not necessarily it's, uh, it's very challenging. Psychologically, it's very challenging to not have money, to not be able to, like, really take care of yourself the way you want to, and there are times when I'm okay with it, like, I'll be sitting in my favorite cafe, like Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf with my cold brew coffee, and I'm working on a script or whatever, and I'm high off of it. I'm like, I'm living this is like everything's in alignment. I'm connected to my creativity and I'm totally fine with my choices. And then there are times when I can't pay the bills or I don't know how I'm going to get this movie made and I'm struggling, like right now it feels like one of those times and it is very hard and to fight that depression and that fear of like not knowing how stuff is going to happen, not knowing how the movie is going to get made or will I be able to take care of myself? Can I afford groceries? Like why did I choose this,
Mhm.
But and it's very hard. It takes its toll.
It's funny. When I was a musician, I don't play music anymore, but for the longest time, I was out there playing in bands and trying to gig for $25 or something, just something to take some money and put it in my pocket. But there was an interview that I'd heard, and it was with Billy Joel, and there was somebody who was interviewing him, asked him what made him decide why did he choose to play the piano of all the instruments, and his response was classic. His response was, I don't think I chose the piano. I think the piano chose me. And I think as an artist, you really, when you have that sincere conversation with yourself and your heart, like, I don't do what I do. I didn't choose to do what I'm doing. I'm doing it because it chose me to do it. So I think that's really where you might be in that. It's not that why did you choose to do this? It's like you're driven, you're compelled to do it by some force that you can't you can't control it. You can't turn the knob one way or the other. It's pushing you to do it.
Yeah, so
Would that be a
accurate.
fair assessment?
Oh, so completely accurate. It's we all have this, like, internal guidance system, and you know when something feels good or something feels bad. It's like, if I'm not creating, if I'm not working on some big story that's gonna, like a movie that's gonna really, like, touch people, then I'm depressed. I can't function. I can't live a normal life and do, like, a normal 9 to 5. It's like the voice is so loud inside me that I can't I have no choice.
Because honestly, Marlene, if you were to do it, let's play make believe. Okay, let's suppose we put you in an office. You clock in at 8 o'clock in the morning. You clock out at 5, and you're exhausted by the time you get home. You don't even have energy to work on that script. You would be absolutely miserable.
Totally,
You would
totally.
be jumping off a bridge.
Yeah, yeah. It's like yeah. It's interesting, I think about that book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and this, hospice worker, like, wrote this book based on years of care of people dying, and the number one regret is not having lived an authentic life and doing what they were meant to do because they cared about what people thought or they did what they thought they should do, and I always have that in the back of my mind. It's like, do I live, with the struggle and the uncertainty to follow this thing that's inside me that's the only thing that's gonna make me happy, or do I follow a sure path that I'll take care of my financial needs, but, my soul will be unfulfilled, and I feel like, fuck it, like, I
Yeah,
have to take the risk.
yeah.
You have to because I another thing, like, you think about yourself at 90 years old looking back, what are you gonna
What are you
regret?
going to point to and say, yes, I
Yeah,
did that? I can leave this world feeling like, okay, I did something. I left something behind. You
yes, or
know,
that even, like, let's say the movies never happened or the music never got heard, the fact that you tried, the fact that you lived in alignment with your true soul, with your purpose, like, that's your directive. It's not about the outcome. I hope these movies get made. I hope that people see them. It would be such a shame if they didn't, but to get to the finish line or whatever and to look back and to not have tried, like, that is the ultimate failure.
I agree. And it's funny. I have this conversation with my wife, and my wife has asked me before, like, is there a degree of success that you hope to achieve before you die, or that sort of thing? It's kind of morbid. And my response was, I don't really do what I do for the people that are alive. Does that make any sense? Like, I believe, like, I'm such a student of Shakespeare that, yeah, he enjoyed obviously enjoyed a great deal of success in his lifetime. But I think the vast majority of his success was long after he was buried. And you
Yeah,
can say that same thing about a lot of artists. Look at Vincent van Gogh. He died poor, died a homeless man. Look at Edgar Allan Poe. Nobody really cared about anything till long he was dead and laying in a ditch in Baltimore, drunk. Okay.
yeah,
So I don't do it, like, to kind of play off of what you just said, which I think was perfectly said. You're gonna do it because it's fulfilling to you. To kind of paraphrase what you were saying, it's fulfilling to you, and it's gonna bring, that's your joy. Does that make any sense?
totally, and it's funny, like, my therapist will often bring up Van Gogh to me, that maybe I won't get the recognition that I want until afterward, and I hate when she says that 'cause I'm like, I fucking hate that. I wanna live well off of my art. I wanna make my movies. I don't wanna,
I
but
got you.
that's not something we can control, right? I mean, we have to kind of shift our perception and find joy in the doing and being in alignment with the doing as opposed to dependent on the outcome.
Let me ask you a question. Were you popular in high school? Were you one of the in girls?
Nope. Nope. I
So
yeah.
did you get used to it? Did you come out of high school and say, you know what, the hell with that? I don't care. I'm just gonna do me.
Yeah, I mean, I found my home in the punk clubs. At that time, I had a fake ID. I went to this club called Paris, New York, and Huntington, Long Island, and I that was my home. That was the subculture that I belonged to and that I thrived in. So that was like I had that. I
So
don't know
you
what I
will
would have
find
done.
your crowd, your fan base, your people who are going to enjoy your films are going to find you. You see? Now there's a marketing whole aspect. I mean, LA's look, you live in LA. I don't need to tell you, but the perception out here about LA is things aren't as rosy as they once were.
Yeah, so true. So
So,
true.
I mean, and in some regards, I'm with you there that you got, you got to feel a sense of fulfillment. And yes, part of that would be having a crowd of people coming to the theater to see your show. I could attest to this. It is very thrilling. But at the end of the day, it's just like any drug. It wears off.
Mm, that's interesting. Yeah, I know, but I think about that feeling though, like just from my first feature film and showing it in theaters or festivals and having people packed in the audience and being touched by it and speaking to you after, like the thrill of that, I think is what drives the struggle that sometimes takes years. Like it drives that because you want that feeling again.
Of
You want to
course.
find your
It's like it's a drug, man. It's a drug. So
yeah.
Marlene, so we're at the point now where this conversation really is just getting started. I mean, we're just scratching. I mean, can you believe 15 minutes just went by? Can you
No
believe
way.
that?
No.
It just boom went by. So for all the people out there, I just want to say to all the YouTubers and Rumble and all the other places like X and Facebook, Malene Rhein, I'm going to put all of her work and links in the description below or in the comment section somewhere. Please check out her work. She's a fantastic filmmaker and she's quite a good dancer too.
Thank you.
And
I'm
give her
trying to
some
raise
love.
money for my movie too.
Yeah.
Trying to
And
raise
check out her movie. And really, we should talk about this before we sign off for this segment. And that's your production of Joy Sriracha,
yeah, who is
who's
Joy?
coming up.
Yeah, so
So can you just plug that for our audience real quick on
sure,
how to reach you for funding and that sort of thing?
sure. So I'm raising money for my dark comedy, Who is Joy Sriracha? It's a very funny script. It's about a woman so traumatized by current events that she splits off into 3 personalities, only to become the unwitting subject of a documentary by her new opportunist boyfriend. And there are great investor opportunities, tax write-off, certain, legal stuff I'll explain later, but you can reach me at marlenerhein.com. Spelling will be below in the link. Definitely check it out.
Yes, it'll also be on the screen right here. Malene Rhein, everyone, if you want to hear the continuation of this conversation, because Malene and I are going to keep talking, check out go on Patreon. If you're not a patron of the show already, go to patreon.com/King of Silas. Sign up today for $1. You get to access this and all the other episodes that I've been doing that you never get to see because you aren't a patron yet, but you will be. Malene Rhein, thank you so much for being a part of this. I'm going to see you on the other side, but for now, God bless.